Well, my next guest is one of our funniest comedians, his well-known and well-loved character. Mrs Brown has become a YouTube success with over 2.6 million hits. He's about to take her off on a tour of Canada. Give a really warm welcome to Brendan OCarroll. I was actually amazed, 2.6 million YouTube hits. By any standards, that's a hit.
It is, yeah. Well, I have to say, I'd like to say it's down to me, and I had a plan. I didn't. It's Conor and Fiona Gibney who handle our IT for us, and Conor decided to do this, and said to me on the 7th of December, "Have you seen the piece on YouTube?" He put it out on the 4th, and I said, "No." He said, "You should look at it." And I said, "It's doing okay. There's about 4,000 people looked at it." So I looked at it that day on the 7th, and it was gone up to 7,000. I said, that could go really well. That could go 10, 15,000. And by the 20th, it was gone up to 1 million. It was mad.
It's amazing. Mrs Brown, who is she? Who is she?
Well,
actually,
one of the questions I get asked most of all people say is, "Mrs Brown is your mother?" And I used to say no. I used to say no, because my mother's a completely different kind of character. But I suppose, in many ways, she is my mother without the education. My mother had a great education. My mother was a nun.
Before she had you, or
well, obviously. Obviously. No, she was a nun, and she renounced her vows and went on to marry my dad, who was a great dancer. That's why she married him. He was obviously great at something else as well. She had 11 kids. 11 children. 11 children.
Where did you come?
Last. I was the best. She told me, I read her diary. She told me that I was one more time for old time's sake. And I read her diary. She was 46 when I was born.
Were you a pet?
Oh, absolutely.
You read her diary, I interrupt you, go on.
Yeah, I read it when I was 15, I found her diary, and on the 5th of December 1954, she'd written, "Must go to see the doctor. He says I'm either pregnant or it's a growth." And in brackets she had, "I hope it's a growth." So I found this and I said, look what you wrote. And she said, "I know, and you are a growth, and you were malignant." So she had 11 kids. I mean, 11 kids. She must have had a room like a machine gun.
But she was actually really advanced now, to be serious. Like, she was a feminist in her day. Like, she set up a women's shelter, didn't she?
Yeah.
She did loads of things like that.
Well, she was a real go-getter. And in many ways, I got the benefit of that, because when she left the nunnery, I don't know if is it called nunnery?
Convent, probably, but nunnery's grand.
When she left the convent, she married my dad, went on to have a heap of kids. But she also, before she got married, she taught in secondary school. Yeah. And when she got married, she got fired, because you couldn't be a married woman and work in the civil service. So she said, "I'm not having that." And she got involved in the union and got that changed. And then she got so active in the union that the Labour Party, which she was a member of, said, "Listen, why don't you run as a running mate to Mickey Mullen, and you might pull in the housewives' vote and push Mickey over the line." And as it turned out, Mickey's votes pushed her over the line, and she became the first woman elected to Dáil Éireann for the Labour Party, and the only woman in that Dáil. So she said about changing a lot of women's laws. Some of them were ridiculous. One of the laws she changed was that at that time it was legal to beat your wife, provided you didn't use a stick longer than your forearm or thicker than your thumb. So I have a few sticks like that at home for Jenny, you know. But she got that changed. She got the birth cert changed, because on the birth cert, if your father wasn't known, it said bastard. So she got that changed, but they changed it to what was it? Anyway, they got to change father unknown or something like illegitimate.
She did loads of stuff, though.
Yeah, and so she was...
What about the bachelor's piece, though?
Yeah, she closed down bachelor's. She closed down bachelor's piece. She was in the supermarket in her constituency. She really had nothing to do with her life. And she was buying some stuff, and this guy, Lipton's supermarket, and he started bringing in his own brand stuff, Lipton's, everything, except peas. She said, "How come you've no..." She's getting a packet of Marifat peas. She said, "How come you've no Lipton's peas?" And he said, "Oh, it's illegal. Only bachelors can produce peas in Ireland." And she said, no. She said, "We have an anti-monopoly law. That can't be true." He said, "No." He said, "There's an agreement." He said, "I checked it. It was an agreement that was made with De Valera. De Valera promised bachelors that if they grew peas during the war, that they'd have a monopoly on peas after the war. And the only way it could be broken was if they were either trading fraudulently or volunteered to give up the monopoly themselves." So she took the Marifat peas and she went to a friend of hers who analysed them and found that only 10% of the peas were Marifats. The rest were black-eyed peas. So she had the guards raid bachelors. Honest to God.
This is true now.
Yeah, and they confiscated every pee in the place. Honestly, there was a cartoon at the time in Dublin Opinion where she said, I won't have another bachelor pee in my house again. So she was as mad as a brush.
Yeah, but she was an interesting feminist.
She was. When she retired from politics, my dad died when I was very young, probably from exhaustion. And she retired from politics. And when she did, we knew she'd a few bob. She'd made a few bob. So we thought we'd all be all right. We were in a 2-bedroomed house in town at the time, and we moved out to Feminist after that.
Well, when you say 2 bedrooms, like, I still find that amazing. All of you slept, obviously, in 2 bedrooms.
We had the boys' bedroom, the girls' bedroom, and then they had a pull-out couch. I don't know how they had 11 kids. My father must have been really quick. He must have done it by post. Slipped the postman a note.
But listen, since you were talking about your mum, we have a great clip of Mrs Brown.
Oh, yeah. This is the new TV series. We've been commissioned by BBC One to do a TV series for 10:30 on Thursday nights, starting in January.
Which is great.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I don't know if they know what they've let themselves in for.
Yeah.
And we did the pilot, which was broadcast on RT in January, and you're going to show a clip of it.
Let's have a little look at it. Have a look at this.
So what is it? What's wrong with him anyway?
I'll have to run some tests.
More fucking money.
What did he say?
He's going to run some tests.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll need a sample of his urine and a sample of his stool.
What's he saying?
He wants your underpants.
She's a loved character, though, because loads of people really go and see her in all age groups. I was amazed at that.
Right across the board, it's 18 to 80, and particularly, I'm very surprised that she's. When I wrote this for 2FM, if you remember, for years ago, for Gareth O'Callaghan, and it was a 5-minute piece to go out 5 days a week, and we'd run it for 3 or 4 weeks. It ran for 2 years on 2FM. I didn't know it was going to. It became a movie starring Angelica Houston, 4 novels now at this stage, 5 plays, and now a TV sitcom. I really thought it would only take off in Dublin. I even didn't think it would take off outside of Dublin and the rest of the country. The fact that it's now all over the UK, we go to Glasgow, and there'll be 15,000 tickets sold for a week. And I don't know what those people are saying, so I don't know how they're getting it. I come out and they go, oh, they is this, oh, funny woman, could there, and I go, yeah. But they love her, they have to. And I think what it is there's something familiar about her. She's that old style mother, I think, that she's probably, my mother wasn't a mother in the mammy sense. She was more like you.
She was busy doing other things.
Yeah, she was out saving the world, and she was, for instance, my sisters would remember a woman who they hear on the radio, they heard on the radio when they were kids, decrying the fact that so many children were coming out of school illiterate. And she wouldn't be there to help them with the homework. My mother had a bachelor's degree from university, so she obviously knew the importance of education. None of her 11 children went past primary.
That's
now,
amazing.
we all did well. We all did very well, but it's just that she was a real... She wasn't a mammy.
Was she disappointed that none of you went on to college?
No, she just... Her attitude always was, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
My sister Fiona, who was over on a visit at the moment, emigrated to Canada at 16 years of age as a waitress. And she retired 10 years ago as Assistant Vice President of the Union Bank of Switzerland.
Right, Jesus, you have
But the thing is, because my mother used to say to us, you'll be fine.
You don't need to go to college.
It's not even that you don't need to go to college. You'll be fine. And I think she also knew that there was no free education at that stage. So the chance of getting into a secondary school without money were pretty thin. So, you know, look, just make the best of what you have, and we did. All 11 of us did. We did fantastic.
Well, with 2.6 million hits on YouTube, and now you're about to go to Canada and
a
the
BBC series.
Yeah, you did great, Brendan.
If it gets any better, it'll be embarrassing.
No. It's well deserved, and thank you for being my guest
Thank you, Mary, my pleasure.
Genuinely, it's well deserved.
Thank you.